Welcome back to the deep dive. I want to start today with a sound. You know that sound when you're driving and everything seems fine, but then you hear this faint knock, knock, knock coming from under the hood.
The sound that makes you immediately turn up the radio so you don't have to deal with it.
Exactly. You ignore it, but deep down you know something is grinding. Today we're talking about that knocking sound, but not in your car. We're talking about the engine we use every single day. Our sentences.
It's a perfect metaphor, really, because sentences are machines. They have gears, they have pistons, and when the grammar is off, the reader feels that knock. The ride gets bumpy.
Right. They might not even know why it feels wrong. They just know they want to get out of the car.
Totally.
So today we are popping the hood. We're doing a deep dive into the mechanics of editing and proofreading, but we're not just going to recite a textbook here. We want to look at language as an engineering problem.
Right. And the first thing we need to clear up, and this drives me crazy, is the difference between editing and proofreading. People use them like synonyms, but they're totally different stages of the repair process.
I'll admit, I probably treat them as the same thing. I finish an email, I give it a quick once-over, and I just hit send. That's it.
See, and that's where the trouble starts. Think of it this way. Editing is the mechanic work. You're in the garage, you're covered in grease, you're holding a wrench.
Okay.
You're looking for broken parts. A loose bolt, that's a spelling error. An oil leak, that's a tense mistake. You are literally fixing the structure of the machine.
So editing is finding and fixing what's actually broken. So what's proofreading then?
Proofreading is the test drive. You've washed your hands, you've put on your clean clothes, and now you're taking the car out on the highway. You aren't looking for loose bolts anymore. You're checking the feel.
Oh, I like that.
Does it steer straight? Is the ride smooth? I mean, does the logic flow?
Yeah, you can have a car with all the bolts tightened, perfect grammar, but if the steering wheel is locked to the left, you're still going to drive straight into a ditch.
Exactly. You can have a sentence that is grammatically perfect but logically nonsensical. Proofreading catches the nonsense. Editing catches the errors. Today, we're going to help everyone listening become both the mechanic and the test driver.
Let's get our hands dirty then. I want to start with what I call the container trap. This is subject-verb agreement, which sounds boring, I know, but it's actually where our brains get tricked the most.
It's a visual distraction, really.
Yeah.
We see a word right next to the verb, and our brain just assumes that's the subject.
Right. Let's take the example. The quality of the apples. If I'm just talking fast, my brain hears apples plural. And I want to say, the quality of the apples were poor.
And your ear tells you that sounds okay. Apples were. It sort of rhymes, it flows. But it's wrong.
Why?
Okay, imagine a physical box of chocolates, or, in this case, a box of apples. You are holding the box. How many things are you holding?
One box.
Exactly. You aren't holding 50 apples. You are holding one container. Quality is the container. It's an abstract concept. You can't count quality like you count coins. It's singular. So you have to say the quality of the apples was poor.
So the apples are just the decoration inside the box. The real subject is the box itself.
Precisely. Don't get distracted by the shiny things inside the prepositional phrase. Always look at the container.
Okay, I'm with you on the box. But let's level up. There is a sentence structure that trips me up every single time. It's one of those candidates who trap.
Oh, this is the ultimate boss fight of grammar.
Let me try to say it. He is one of those candidates who is shortlisted. That feels right to me. He is one guy, so he was shortlisted.
And that is exactly where the trap snaps shut. It's actually, he is one of those candidates who were shortlisted.
No way. That just sounds wrong. Who were? But he is singular.
But look at the logic. Just break down the sentence. We have a group. Those candidates. What happened to that whole group?
They were shortlisted.
Right. The whole crowd was shortlisted. The word who is a relative pronoun. Think of it as a little bridge. It bridges the gap back to the nearest noun, which is candidates. So who refers to the crowd. The crowd were shortlisted. This guy just happens to be one of them.
My brain hurts a little. So you're saying I'm not really talking about him. I'm talking about the group he belongs to?
Yes. Think of it like this. You point to a crowd of people on a stage and you say, those are the candidates who were picked. Then you point to one guy and say, he is one of them. When you combine it, the who still points back to the crowd. He's one of those candidates who were picked.
Okay, I think I see it. The who is sort of magnetized to the group, not the individual.
Perfect analogy. But, and here's the twist, if you put the word only in front, it changes everything. He is the only one of those candidates who was shortlisted.
Oh. Because now he's the only one. The group didn't get picked, just him.
Exactly. Logic wins.
All right, speaking of individuals, let's talk about the loners. I'm talking about words like each, every, either, and neither.
These are the introverts of the language world. They refuse to acknowledge crowds. They only deal with people one at a time.
So even if I say each of the students, and I'm looking at a classroom of 30 kids.
Grammar puts blinders on you. When you use the word each, you are mechanically pointing your finger at one student, then moving to the next and the next. You're effectively saying, student A is here, student B is here. You're never looking at the whole blob.
So it's always singular. Each of the students is ready, not are.
Always, everyone, anyone, neither. They're always singular. Neither of the boys has a bike, not have. It's like a spotlight that can only light up one person at a time.
Okay, so each breaks a group down into singles. But what about words that do the opposite? Words that take a huge crowd of people and smash them into one big thing. I'm talking about collective nouns, the shapeshifters.
This is my favorite visualization. Think of a collective noun like army, committee, or team as a giant robot, like a transformer.
A giant robot. Okay, I'm listening.
The robot is made of people, right? But when those people are working together with a single mind, they form the giant robot. It acts as one entity, so you use a singular verb. The committee has decided. The army is marching. The robot takes one step.
But robots can break apart, right?
Exactly. Sometimes the pilots inside the robot start arguing, or they start doing their own individual tasks. If the sentence describes the individuals doing something separate, the robot dissolves.
Give me an example of that.
Okay, the jury are arguing among themselves. You can't have one giant robot arguing with itself. It has to be 12 individual people yelling at each other. So the grammar has to shift to plural.
Oh, that's good. Or like the team are putting on their uniforms. A giant robot doesn't wear a uniform. The individual players do.
Bingo. You just have to ask yourself, is the robot acting or are the pilots acting?
Now, there are some words in this category that are just sneaky. The secretly plural gang, I'm thinking of a word like police.
Police is a tricky one. It looks singular. It doesn't have an "es" at the end. But in English, the police is always, always plural. You can never say the police is investigating.
That's weird because the army is investigating works just fine.
I know. English is cruel. But police implies the force, the group of officers. The police are investigating. The cattle are grazing. These words are just permanently stuck in plural mode.
So if I want to talk about one cop, I have to say a police officer. I can't just say the police is here.
Correct. If you say the police is here, it's an immediate signal that you might not be a native speaker. It's a dead giveaway.
Got it. Let's shift gears to something a bit more philosophical. Let's talk about reality versus fantasy. This is the subjunctive mood.
The dream world. This is where we use grammar to signal that we are officially leaving the real world.
The classic example is, if I were you. Now, normally, I goes with was. I was hungry, I was late. Why do we suddenly switch to were?
Think of the subjunctive mood as putting on a VR headset. You are entering a simulation. When you say, if I were you, you're stating something that is impossible. You are not me. You can never be me. It is contrary to fact.
So the word were is like a little flashing light saying simulation mode, active.
Exactly. If you say, if I was rude, I apologize. That means maybe you were rude in the real world. It's a real possibility. But if you say, if I were the king of France, that is pure fantasy.
So what about a sentence like this? He acts as if he were the boss.
Well, is he the boss?
No, he's just acting.
Then it's simulation, so we use were. He acts as if he were the boss. If you say he acts as if he was the boss, it just sounds clunky. You know, this sounds like you missed the nuance.
It's a subtle flex. Using were correctly just makes you sound instantly smarter.
It separates the facts from the wishes. It's a very useful logic gate.
All right, let's talk about relationships. Specifically, codependent relationships in grammar. The Siamese twins.
Paired conjunctions. These are words that must always hold hands. If you invite one to the party, you absolutely have to invite the other.
The big ones are neither nor, either or, and not only, but also.
Right, you can't say neither John or Mary. It has to be neither John nor Mary. That part's basic.
Ah.
But the real puzzle is the nearest neighbor rule.
This is the one that messes with my head. Let's say I have a sentence. Not only the teacher, but also the students. Blank. Present. Do I use was for the teacher or were for the students?
Okay, this is the lazy verb rule. Imagine the verb is really lazy. It doesn't want to look all the way across the room to the first subject. It only looks at the person standing right next to it.
So in not only the teacher, but also the students, the word students is right there next to the verb slot.
Right. So the verb sees students, sees that it's plural, and says, okay, we're doing plural. Not only the teacher, but also the students were present. It completely ignores the teacher.
That is ruthless.
It's efficiency. But watch what happens if we flip it. Not only the students, but also the teacher.
Okay, now the teacher is the neighbor. Teacher is singular, so was.
Not only the students, but also the teacher was present.
That sounds so weird to my ear. Students was.
It sounds weird because your brain is trying to sum them up. You're doing math. You're thinking one teacher plus 20 students equals 21 people, so it should be plural. But grammar isn't doing math here. It's just proximity. The verb only cares about its closest neighbor.
Lazy verb. I'm going to remember that. Okay, moving on to the wet water department. This is redundancy.
Yes. This is where we try to fix the engine by duct taping parts that are already there.
Like saying return back.
Return means go back. So return back is literally go back. It's silly.
Or collaborate together.
Can you collaborate alone?
I try, but it's usually just me talking to myself.
Exactly. Co-labor means working together. Just say collaborate.
But the one that really gets me is the adverb trap. Specifically, hard versus hardly.
Ooh, this is a dangerous one. Because usually adding "ly" just makes the word an adverb. Quick, quickly. Loud, loudly. But hard and hardly are. They're enemies.
Give me the breakdown.
If you say he works hard, you are visualizing sweat, effort, muscle. But hardly means barely. It's a negative word.
So if I say he works hardly,
You are saying he is lazy. He is barely doing anything at all.
that is a massive difference.
Huge. Imagine writing a performance review. John works hardly. You just got John fired.
And what about fastly? I hear kids say this all the time. He runs fastly.
Fastly is a ghost word. It doesn't exist. Fast is a shapeshifter itself. It's both the adjective and the adverb. You drive fast. You never, ever drive fastly. If you see fastly in your writing, delete it immediately. It's a broken bolt.
Okay, we're coming into the final stretch. I want to talk about the inverted world. This sounds like a sci-fi movie, but it's actually a way of speaking that makes you sound very dramatic.
It's the movie trailer voice.
Normally we say subject, then verb. The manager had entered the room. Boring. Standard.
But if you start the sentence with a negative word like hardly or scarcely, you have to flip the engine. You have to invert the subject and the verb.
So instead of the manager had entered, it becomes
Hardly had the manager entered.
hardly had the manager entered. It sounds like Yoda or, 19th century literature.
It does. It adds emphasis to the immediacy of it. But the mistake people make is they try to keep the normal order. They say, hardly the manager had entered when the phone rang. And that just knocks. The engine stalls.
It just feels clunky. So if you use a negative starter like scarcely or no sooner, you have to flip the verb. No sooner had he arrived.
Correct. And speaking of specific words, we have to touch on preposition glue.
This is the idea that some words are just magnetically attached to certain prepositions and you can't swap them out.
The big one is senior, junior, superior. Words that end in or.
My brain wants to use then. He's senior than me because I say he is older than me.
It's a totally logical assumption. But senior and junior aren't normal adjectives. They come from Latin. And without getting too deep into the history, the magnetic pole of these words pulls them toward the word to.
So he is senior to me.
Always to, never than. Same with prefer. You don't prefer coffee than tea.
I prefer coffee to tea.
Exactly. It's just a rule of magnetism. You can't fight it.
One more that surprised me. Enter.
Ah, he entered into the room.
That sounds perfectly fine.
Sounds fine, but it's the wet water department all over again. Enter means go into. So
Yeah.
enter into means go into. Unless you are entering a contract or a discussion, you don't use a preposition. Physically, you just enter the room.
Clean and simple.
Efficiency.
So we've covered a lot. We've fixed the loose bolts. We've tightened the gaskets. But I want to leave the listeners with one final mind bender. It's the furniture paradox.
Oh, I love this one. It explains the logic of uncountable nouns perfectly.
Okay, here's the puzzle. I can look at my living room and count 1 chair, 2 chairs. I can count 1 table, 2 tables. But I cannot say 1 furniture, 2 furnitures. Why?
It comes down to the difference between an object and a category. A chair is a physical thing. You can touch it. But furniture is an abstract concept. It's the label we put on the box.
It's the container again.
Exactly. Just like quality. Furniture is the category. You can't count categories in the same way you count the things inside them. Think about traffic.
Right, I can count cars. 1 car, 2 cars.
But you can't count traffic. Traffic is the concept of cars moving together. Luggage is another one. You can count suitcases, but you can't count luggages.
That is gonna mess with me. I'm gonna go home and just stare at my toaster. Toaster countable, kitchenware uncountable.
It's a great way to train your brain to see the logic behind the words.
And that's really the mission here, isn't it? We aren't trying to get you to just memorize a rule book. We want you to see the machine working.
Right. When you understand why senior takes to or why furniture has no plural, you don't have to memorize it. It just makes sense. You stop being a passenger in the car and you start actually driving it.
So your challenge for this week, be the test driver. Before you send that email, but before you post that comment, take 5 seconds, listen for the knock in the engine, check if your giant robot is holding together.
And if you hear a knock, don't just turn up the radio. Pop the hood.
Thanks for diving in with us. Safe driving, everyone.
See you next time.